RHOC, Vicki Gunvalson gets petty, belittles Alexis Bellino's career. Vicki Gunvalson may be a friend of the Real Housewives of Orange County since season 14, but that has not stopped her from stirring the drama on and off screen. With every new episode, the OG of the OC seems to be weighing in on her new podcast or social media. Now, Alexis Bellino has found herself in her crosshairs over her latest outrageous claims about the show. After being dubbed the most hated Real Housewives villain ever, Alexis took to her Instagram page to try to tell her truth. In the post, she claimed that Bravo was intentionally making her look bad and fans would eventually learn the truth. She also revealed she was going to start posting weekly recaps so she could let fans know her side of every episode. After a decade away, Alexis returned to the show as a friend. Amid news, she was dating RHOC mainstay Shannon Beater's recent ex, John Jansen. Fans and her bestie Vicki rallied around Shannon after Alexis and John came for her again and again. Taking on Shannon in season 18 with her planned outlines was nothing compared to their next move. While cameras rolled, she and John threatened to release video of Shannon from the night of her DUI unless she paid back a $75,000 loan, which Emily Simpson confirmed is commonly known as extortion. As Alexis' post quickly went viral, fans flocked to social media to bash her and her message, everywhere but on her post since she turned her Instagram comments back off. One commenter compared Alexis to former RHOBH star Brandi Glanville, saying housewives make a fortune on the show, but when they know the messed up, they immediately start blaming producers. Vicki responded to the comment suggesting her time on the show might be short-lived. She didn't make a fortune this season. She was cast as a friend only, noted the OG. If she thinks RHOC is a career, she has a rude awakening. I don't think she's ever had a career. Maybe she should consider getting one because, hopefully, this is a one-season appearance. Career? The Kodo insurance queen added, even though Alexis filmed as much as the full-time RHOC stars, being a friend is a pay-to-play position. This means you only get paid if you show up. Vicki was also quick to point out that friends make very, very little. Tell us, do you agree with Vicki Gunvalson that Alexis will not be back next season? Sound off in the comments below. In the vast, drama-filled landscape of the Real Housewives of Orange County, RHOC, it's rare for an episode or reunion to go by without some level of pettiness or shade being thrown by one housewife at another. This trend held strong recently when original cast member Vicki Gunvalson found herself back in the limelight for belittling Alexis Bellino's career choices, adding yet another chapter to her storied history of delivering sharp one-liners and unapologetically harsh critiques. As any longtime fan of RHOC knows, Vicki Gunvalson is not only the self-proclaimed OG of the OC, but also one of the most outspoken housewives in the entire Bravo franchise. Never one to mince words or hold back her true feelings, Vicki's persona has become synonymous with unfiltered opinions, dramatic outbursts, and her constant need to remind everyone of her professional success. Whether it's her insurance business, Kodo Insurance, or her status as the longest-running cast member, Vicki has often used her career as both a badge of honor and a weapon to wield against her co-stars, which is precisely what happened in this latest incident involving Alexis Bellino. Vicki Gunvalson versus Alexis Bellino. The showdown. Alexis Bellino, who joined RHOC during its 5th season, is no stranger to being criticized by her fellow housewives. From the moment she stepped onto the scene with her Christian values, lavish lifestyle, and signature catchphrase, "Am I high maintenance? Of course I am," Alexis was a polarizing figure. While some viewers appreciated her devotion to her family and faith, others were quick to criticize her for what they perceived as shallowness or lack of depth. And who could forget her husband, Jim Bellino, who often appeared controlling and dismissive, adding fuel to the fire of Alexis' critics. Vicki, however, always had a special distaste for Alexis' self-professed career. Alexis often presented herself as a working mom in the early seasons, talking about her ventures in broadcasting and later her jewelry and clothing line. To many, including Vicki, these efforts didn't seem to hold up against the backdrop of Vicki's highly successful insurance business. Vicki, who has prided herself on being the epitome of a self-made woman, regularly dismissed Alex's career as superficial and insubstantial. In the latest RHOC episode, Vicki once again took a jab at Alexis when a conversation about career accomplishments came up. Alexis, who had been focusing on her entrepreneurial ventures and her role as a lifestyle coach. Her ability to juggle both motherhood and her businesses, but Vicki, in classic form, was not impressed. A history of shade. Vicki's criticism of other housewives' careers to understand why this moment was so quintessentially Vicki. It's essential to look at her history of cutting down her fellow housewives for their professional endeavors. Over the years, Vicki has developed a pattern of minimizing other women's efforts to build their careers or businesses, especially when they didn't match her definition of success. Her longtime frenemy Tamra Judge, for instance, often found herself on the receiving end of Vicki's sharp tongue when she launched her fitness business, Cut Fitness. Despite Tamra's clear passion for the fitness industry and her commitment to her gym, Vicki repeatedly made comments questioning its viability and profit margins. The underlying message from Vicki seemed to be that if it wasn't insurance, if it wasn't something she deemed serious or substantial, then it wasn't a real career. Similarly, when former cast member Gretchen Rossi launched her beauty line and attempted to break into the fashion world, Vicki didn't hold back in her skepticism. She famously referred to Gretchen's handbag line as cheap and unworthy of a serious businesswoman's attention. For Vicki, these ventures didn't measure up, and she was more than willing to express her disdain. Why Alexis became a target? So, why did Alexis Bellino become one of Vicki's primary targets in this particular episode? Part of it undoubtedly stems from Vicki's deeply entrenched belief that she is the hardest working housewife in the RHOC franchise, a narrative she has perpetuated for years. In her mind, the success of her insurance business is a tangible representation of real-world accomplishment, while the endeavors of housewives like Alexis, who have pursued careers in lifestyle branding, fashion, or coaching, are frivolous. But it's also possible that Vicki's jabs at Alexis come from a more personal place. Alexis, who is unapologetic about her strong faith and family values, often seemed like the antithesis to Vicki's more chaotic, career-driven persona. Throughout their time on the show together, there were underlying tensions between the two women, with Vicki often seeming to look down on Alexis' choices as a homemaker and stay-at-home mother, even as Alexis tried to expand her professional life. It's also worth noting that Vicki herself has faced significant criticism over the years, not just for her personality but for the way she has chosen to navigate her personal and professional life. Vicki's identity is deeply tied to her career success, and any challenge to that narrative, whether implicit or explicit, seems to push her to go on the offensive. The problem with dismissing other women's careers, while Vicki's comments toward Alexis were framed as part of the typical RHOC drama, they also reflect a larger issue that has been a topic of conversation both on and off the show. Throughout its many seasons, the Real Housewives franchise has often showcased women belittling each other's achievements, particularly when it comes to career and business ventures. Vicki's behavior is just one example of this trend, where women who don't conform to traditional notions of success are often torn down or dismissed. It's easy to see why Vicki, with her long-standing position as a successful businesswoman, might feel justified in criticizing Alex's ventures. After all, Vicki has spent decades building her career, and she's proud of the fact that she has done it all on her own. But by belittling Alexis, Vicki perpetuates a damaging narrative that there is only one right way to be successful, and that only certain careers hold value. The truth is that Alexis, like many women, has worked hard to carve out her own path. While her journey may look different from Vicki's, that doesn't make it any less valid. Whether it's running a business, launching a clothing line, or being a lifestyle coach, Alexis has the right to define success on her own terms. Vicki's inability to recognize this speaks more to her own insecurities than to any real deficiency in Alexis' career. The fans weigh in as expected. Fans of RHOC were quick to weigh in on the drama between Vicki and Alexis, while some viewers defended Vicki, arguing that she had earned the right to be proud of her accomplishments and that Alexis' career might seem less substantial in comparison. Others were not as forgiving. Many fans pointed out that Vicki's constant need to belittle other women's careers is indicative of a larger issue of insecurity and jealousy. Social media lit up with comments about the scene, with some fans expressing frustration at how often women on the Real Housewives series tear each other down instead of lifting each other up. "Why can't Vicki just support other women?" one fan tweeted. "She's always so quick to judge anyone who isn't exactly like her." Another fan remarked, "Alexis has built